Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And you guys were actually pretty close on the Hyperion video. Not quite 3K likes, but 2.4 is not bad. I'm not going to be doing the arrow video because, well, I said we needed to get to 3K likes, but I just wanted to let you guys know that you were a lot closer than I thought I was going to get, especially on, you know, a meme Hyperion video, not like a sneak peek video or something more hype to bring in all the casual viewers. But that being said, that's not the topic of today's video. The topic of today's video is why I've basically quit Marvel Future Revolution and 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. And for those of you who don't know or don't care to know, well, I'll tell you now. Marvel Future Revolution and 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross are basically the only other mobile games that I've been playing seriously in the past 2 years. Besides, of course, the game that you know me for, Marvel Future Fight. And it's significant that I've quit those games for a few reasons, but I'll start off by explaining. When I say quit, I don't necessarily mean, you know, like quit cold turkey. I'm never going to touch the game again. You know, I have a lot of free time on my hands now and then, not always, not lately, but when I do have a lot of free time on my hands, when I do feel like the game is in a better place, I'll probably check out the games again, especially when it comes to Marvel Future Revolution, because I love the Marvel IP even more than I love the the 7 Deadly Sins IP. But lately, those games have not been going in the right direction, and I don't feel like my time spent playing those games is really amounting to anything. So that's basically the topic of today's video, and really giving you guys a good comparison for a game, Marvel Future Fight, that does sort of respect the player's time. And it's a really difficult thing to balance in a mobile game, because we all know the mobile game shtick. Right, let's just get it out of the way now. The games are free to play, but they may or may not be free to enjoy. Right? Free to play is not the same thing as free to enjoy. Because what some games will do is, oh, we just got a crit on TCP. Woo! That was nice. So what some games will do, what a lot of mobile games will do, is make the game free to play. But if you actually want to enjoy the game and have fun, you're gonna have to throw some dollars at it, or maybe more, because of inventory issues, because of RNG, you know, power creep. There's so many reasons why. And every mobile game has this to an extent, right? Every game tries to irritate you in one way or another, or sort of knock you down, push you around, to try to get you to spend a couple dollars, to try to get you to get into the shop, because that's the way it's monetized, right? At the end of the day, the game is a business, the game's not a charity, so they're trying to make money off of you. That's just the way it is, all right? I'm not trying to make some big grand argument of why this shouldn't be. Obviously, it would be great if Netmarble released Marvel Future Fight 2 and it was a $5 game that you bought once and you never had to buy again. But that's not the way it goes. So I'm not gonna be talking about that today. But what I am gonna be talking about is how you should use your combat selectors on Captain America, because we know he's getting a new uniform. No. What I basically want to talk about is that despite this game being so old, or maybe the reason why it's able to do this is because it's so old. Maybe that's why. But Marvel Future Fight basically respects your time, respects the player's time. And you can go very far in the game, and you can enjoy. It's not just play. It's not just you know, free to play, but it's also free to enjoy to a very high level. You can almost go through 100% of the content in the game and enjoy it without having to pay. Now, people will argue with me on that. People will, you know, get into the weeds, get into the really nitty-gritty details with me on that, but that's fine. But you compare that to Marvel Future Revolution now and 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross now, and I don't feel like either one of those games respects my time and actually is play to, well, there's two things. It's play to enjoy and play to progress. That's the other problem. In Marvel Future Fight, despite the fact that I save up a lot of materials, I never feel like these materials are worthless, right? Even though I have 60,000 of these, if they drop, you know, let's say you know, they drop a new epic quest like we know they're gonna do, there's gonna be another native tier 2 in that epic quest. So there you go. They just made me, they're tying up whatever 10-20,000 black antimatter that I'm gonna have to burn on the next molecule man, the next gladiator type of thing, right? If they want to introduce another one or two native tier 2s, throw some uniforms out there, that number can dwindle very, very fast, right? If they want to do a uniform bonanza for the Eternals and give all 10 Eternals a uniform, these resources are at risk, right? So even though you get to stockpile things in this game, like you do in Grand Cross, and they have meaning, like you're collecting hammers, you're collecting anvils or whatever in Grand Cross, in this game, I don't know, it just feels better when things come out and you get to use your resources. So the two games that I'm comparing today, they don't really have the same problem. Grand Cross's problem is that the game is too simple, and the content that is difficult is either difficult and gated by absurd RNG and an absurd difficulty like the bird stage, or it's gated by whales, which is PvP, right? Where you sort of get stomped if you're not running the very best PvP teams, and if you haven't invested a lot into it. I mean, yeah, you can get to like champ 5 or whatever, but it's not really fun to play against massive whales in PvP in that game, because they just crush you. But the problem with Future Revolution, which is probably the game that you guys compare this game to more often because it's Marvel IP, and it's also made by, actually all 3 games are made by Netmarble. But for Marvel Future Revolution, the really big problem with the game is that it just doesn't respect your time. It doesn't respect your time, and what you end up doing a lot in that game is just farting around. You end up doing things and grinding, and you get nowhere with the grind, right? You play, it's like, imagine, right? It's kind of like this. Imagine if Squad Battle didn't give you any rewards for playing. Okay, like these rewards were not there. This daily participation was not there. And then at the end of the week in Squad Battle, depending on your rank, you'd get a box or 2 boxes or 3 boxes. And then you'd open up those boxes and maybe they'd have Mandalay Gem fragments in them. Maybe they'd have Awakening Crystals in them. Or maybe they'd have nothing in them. Maybe they'd have some joke resource like Gear Up Kits or Dimension Debris. And then you'd be like, well, this week was a failure. I'll try again next week. That's basically what the game boils down to. So it actually blows my mind, but that somehow seems like a good idea from a developer perspective to keep players engaged and to keep players playing, is to randomize rewards that you get at the end of a cycle, right? And that's one of the things that Marvel Future Fight does really well. They give you really good rewards at the end of daily or weekly cycles that keeps you engaged and keeps you enticed to play. Like, for example, in Shadowland, you grind those weekly rewards along the way, but you sort of get to choose how far you go and where you stop. I mean, of course, your roster limits you, but you know, you're only limited in the number of rewards you get by how far you want to push. And those rewards can be randomized with the chests, but at least for the first 35 stages, they're not. So you have 35 stages of guaranteed rewards. It's sweet, right? It's like 3 million gold a week, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Squad Battle has all these guaranteed rewards in addition to more guaranteed rewards based on if you can place in the top 3, right? So there really aren't a lot of game modes. I mean, I guess Alliance Conquest is probably the best example of randomizing your final rewards. However, they do give you rewards along the way, and they give you the gold no matter what, so that's a guaranteed reward. And the rewards you can get if you play pretty well are at least pretty high quality, right? And this is the normal rewards. The challenger rewards are even better if you can get the maximum number of hits. So yeah, it basically just comes down to, you know, the other problem. I mean, Future Revolution and Grand Cross have a few other problems, like they have not been releasing fun characters lately. Like, I mean, Grand Cross just releases, I don't know, they release like 1 fun character every couple months, but it's not really enough. And Future Revolution just hasn't released magic still. I don't know what it was, a month ago, over a month ago that I made that video talking about magic coming to the game. It was over a month ago. It was August 26th. That's crazy, like 6 weeks ago. Yeah. How do you announce a character? Well, to be fair to them, they probably didn't announce the character on the day that I made that video. I think it was a leak or something, or it was just like a post on Discord. But basically, how do you announce a character a month before the character comes out and the character hasn't come out yet? There's just no way. Could you imagine that, right? Could you imagine Marvel Future Fight being like, hey guys, well, I guess they sort of did that with Null. But you could fight against Null. Null was in the game on some level, right? But could you imagine they're like, hey guys, we're gonna release you know, new Wolverine uniform next month, right? Over a month later. It's just way too much. So yeah, basically what it comes down to is no new content, or new content that's either absurdly easy or absurdly hard and pay to win, and the existing content that's there and the existing characters, because characters are also content, right? Like when we play these types of games, we want to, because we're not playing FPS games, we're not playing puzzle games, whatever, we want to build up these characters, whether it's in Grand Cross or Future Evolution or Marvel Future Fight. You want to build up these new characters, right? So you need a steady flow of new characters to build up. If there's no new characters, it gets boring. And you can see some people, not me, but some people have been bored lately with Marvel Future Fight because there are very few new characters. There are not lots of new characters by way of new uniforms. Like they're transforming these characters with new uniforms, but for some players that's not enough because they already built up these characters and they don't want the character to just get a new look and a new damage rotation. They want a brand new character to build up from scratch, to roll a new ISO set for, to give Uru to, etc. And Wenwu and Katie are just not really cutting it, right? So in these other games, Grand Cross, Future Evolution, there's no new content, or the new content is too easy or way too hard and gated by whales. There's no new character content or no new interesting character content. And then the last thing is they just don't respect your time, because the game modes that you grind have inconsistent final rewards, whether those rewards are daily or weekly. And you know what? MFF for me doesn't really do any of those things, which is why I'm still here, which is one of the reasons why I'm still here. Obviously, you guys, the community, is a big reason, a big part of the reason why I'm still here. But I had a channel once upon a time for Grand Cross. I turned that channel into a Future Evolution channel. But really, neither one of those games showed me the same sort of, and gave me the same sort of vibe as Marvel Future Fight does. And that's crazy because I've been playing this game for 6 years. And I've been playing Grand Cross for 2, and I've been playing Future Evolution for like 3 months. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe there's sort of like a shift, in my opinion, in the average players, the average mobile game players' opinion of mobile games. It's kind of like people are tired. People are tired of the same old thing. People are tired of these games that, you know, you play for hours and you're given a crumb. And they're like, okay, enjoy your crumb. Go on with your crumb. Oh, you want the actual loaf of bread? It's $100. It's up there, right? And I'm not just saying that from a pay to win perspective. I'm not just saying that these games force you to pay, because I'm no stranger. I'm VIP 20. I'm no stranger to spending money in games. But there's a difference between being given nothing and then being told to buy what you want versus being given something to work with. Like, I'm giving you some clay to make something. Yeah, you can't make this gigantic model, right? I'm giving you enough Lego that you can build a little house or a car, right? So you can have your fun with your house or your Lego car. But if you want to make the Lego mansion, okay, now you got to fork over some dollars for the Lego mansion. That kind of makes sense. That makes more sense to me. But unfortunately, other games, I just don't see them doing that, right? They're just not giving out enough, or what they give out just doesn't really amount to anything because there's nothing to do with those resources, right? In the case of Grand Cross, like, I have 7,000 anvils or some shit. I don't have anything to do with them, because there's no characters that I'm building up. There's nothing to do. So it sort of just sits in your inventory doing nothing. And I know to an extent that's true for my resources in Marvel Future Fight. Some of my resources have just been sitting here stockpiling, but I know that they're going to get used much, much sooner, i.e. the examples I gave you with the Epic Quest. So yeah, that's sort of the video I wanted to make today. I also wanted to just address the questions, because I do get them pretty often. Have you quit this game? Have you quit that game? Again, when I quit games, I don't put them down for, like, I don't uninstall them from my phone and never look at them again. But I do keep an eye on them to see if they improve. And I do track the communities to see if the community sentiment about the game has improved, because I don't want these games to fail. I want them to succeed, but they're not really doing themselves any favors at the moment. And my time is better spent, you know, going back to work on Future Fight guides that I've sort of neglected, or spending time with my family doing personal stuff, you know, or looking at other things, like working on like a podcast type of thing, or you know, just other content that I can make in another capacity. So yeah, still gonna be here. Don't worry. There's nothing wrong with Marvel Future Fight, but I just wanted to make this video to address some things that I think are important, and to talk about some things that you know, I think set this game apart from a lot of other games in a good way. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Poor Arrow. and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.